Hey, so welcome back to another video. Today is going to be my 2025 book wrapped. So today is my version of my 2025 book wrapped. It is still January, so I feel like it can still count as like a New Year video, even though we are heading into the later half of January, but let's just pretend not. I feel like I have a disclaimer, so usually when we do these videos we have like a big pile of books and then we can physically show you the books and like take a picture with them and you can see what we've read. But because I live in London, my flat is so tiny, every time I read a book and then when I go home back up north, I take the books with me to store at my bedroom at home, so I just don't have the room here. So then I was saying to Francesca this morning, if I do this video, I do not have the books to show you, so I'm going to have to, Francesca's going to show me how to digitally put them on the screen, so I'm going to just keep pointing. Let's just crack on. I'm going to try and be quite precise because I'm a waffler. Francesca's always telling me I waffle, so let's just snap through it. My reading goal was 25 and I really wanted to hit it. In December I was up to 24 and I was like, oh my god, can I read, like I was on like 23 and I was like, can I read like 2 books in the next week or so? And then I went and looked back at my TBR and I hadn't added all the books that I'd read. I'm really bad at keeping up. Anyway, I did end up reading 2 books at the end of December. I ended up bypassing my goal and I hit 30, which I'm so happy about. Like, it's the most books I've ever read. I did say to Francesca, I feel like it's because I was away a lot last year. And like when I go away, I feel like I read more because you've got less distractions and stuff. So yeah, let's talk through it because I feel like last year was a big reading genre shift for me. I'd only just started to dabble in fantasy. The first book of the year was, okay, The Lost Lover, which is by Karen Swan. I think this was the last one in the collection. I love Karen Swan and I think she writes really cleverly. It's quite a mature book, like it's not like smutty. And it's very like steeped in history and I love history, so I find them quite fun. This was her like, I think her first like series, so this was the 4th one I think. And I finished that in January and I rated it 3.5 stars, so I obviously really enjoyed it. I feel like you have to read the whole series, that you can't just read it as a standalone, but it's set in Scotland and it's about these group of girls that live on this like remote island and they're all moving to mainland Scotland. The whole island gets evacuated and it's like set in the early 1900s, so it's quite a nice historical piece and all the books intertwine, so you need to read them all. The second book I read was, okay, it was Brené Brown, Atlas of the Heart, Mapping Meaningful Connections. Now Brené Brown, like I really find her work really interesting. This book, however, was a slog. Like it was massive, like it's like this big in real life. I had the hardback version, so it took me forever. Like this book really slowed me down. Like it took me over a month, and I tried and stopped twice in 2024 with this book, and I was like, I need to read it in 2025. I was like, come on, like I can't have this on the shelf any longer because I hate starting a book and not finishing it. So I was really like, okay, I need to get on with this one. I did read it and I feel like my stubbornness powered me through. Don't get me wrong, some really interesting stuff in there. So it's all about emotions and stuff. It goes through different types of emotions, how we like process them, what we use them for, what are their actual meanings, like what they mean in different cultures. It's really fascinating, but I feel like it was a bit too big. Like I was like, is it ever gonna end? And some of the stuff is a bit heady. It's not my favourite of hers, I will say. So I would probably rate it a 2.5 because the stuff in there's some really good stuff, but I don't think I'll read it again. I won't read the full thing. Maybe I'd go back to a certain bit and reread it, but not the whole book. The next book was Prima Facie, which technically is a play, but I still class my plays as books on here most of the time. Prima Facie was a play, and it recently got made in London, and it was Jodie Comer, who, if you've seen Killing Eve, she's the star in Killing Eve. It's amazing. It's about a female lawyer and the justice system when it comes to rape and female abuse. So it is a very obviously triggering subject, but I think it's beautifully done, and they did so much research, and a lot of the proceeds go to female charities. And if you want to read a play ever, or you just want to read something a bit different, and plays are really short, you can read them in an hour or two, I would really recommend Prima Facie. I think it's beautifully written, and if you could see it, the National did do a live screening of it. So yeah, I really like that. My next book was another short book. This was more, I mean, I would class it as a novella. I don't know if it is technically a novella, but there we go. I read Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. I feel like it's such an iconic title, and at the grand age of 24 I was like, I feel like I really need to. I've never watched it, so you will have probably heard of it because it's famous because Audrey Hepburn was in the film. This is the actual book version of it. I really enjoyed it. I think they could remake it now and it would still do well. It's a very short story, but it's about this guy's fascination with this really intriguing woman who's got loads of lies and mysterious socialite vibes, and obviously it's set in New York, I think in the 20s or 30s, but I really enjoyed that. I rated that a 3.5 stars because you could read that in an afternoon. I think I took it when I went to Rome and read it in 2 days, when I was in Rome, just feeling very cultured. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. My next book, okay, this is when my big fantasy era kicked in. So I was away at the time and I had lots of free time, so I started the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas, and I know lots of people have read her, but if you have not read her, I would highly recommend, because this series was incredible. I kind of want to say it's my favourite series I've ever read, which is really dramatic, but it's so good. If you know, you know. I just think the plot was so in depth, and it's 8 books long, so they were I read that whole series, so I'll say the names. So I read Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Queen of Shadows, Heir of Fire, The Assassin's Blade, Empire of Storm, Kingdom of Ash, Tower of Dawn. I think that's all of them, and I'll pop them on the screen. They're really chunky books, but because the plot is so oh my god, what's going to happen next, and because you've really fallen in love with the characters, I don't feel they don't feel long. If anything, you're oh my god, I've nearly finished it. Because I feel like they're a binge read. I binged them. I was literally I couldn't take a break for 5 days and then come back to it. I wanted to know what was happening. So I'd really recommend them. I've been telling Francesca that she would love them because she's just read Akatar and she thinks that's good, and I was like, wait till you read Throne of Glass, because I just think it's so much more, I think it's just so much more detailed and gritty and dramatic, and I think the romance is good, but I just think it's not the forefront of the story. I think there's so much more going on. And because it's 8 books, there's so many characters to meet on the way, and it all finally intertwines at the end, which I think is brilliant. Somebody you've read in book 2 that you've never seen again comes back in book 8, which I love that sort of rounding together. So I would recommend that whole series. I would give 4.5 stars, because next year I'll probably reread them. I'll definitely reread them. I just want to wait a little bit and read some other books and then come back to it. Because I fell in love with that series. It really inspired me. So yeah, go read them. And then, so that sort of took me through the spring months. Then I had a bit of a break of reading, and then I went away in August and I went to Ireland, and my friend bought me Binding 13. Now I was like, never heard of this series. So the series is called Boys of Torment or Torment. I don't know how to say it. I'll put it up. And it's by Chloe Walsh. And it's set in Dublin back in like, in between like 1990 and 2005. And because I was going to Ireland, I was like, okay, I'm going to read it because like it's set where I was staying. Which I don't know, like, I don't know if anyone's ever done this where you take a book that's set in a place. Like when I go to Spain, I love to take Karen Swan's like Spanish Promise, or like I read her Corfu book, her Greek book when I was in Corfu, and the same with Italy. And I don't know, it feels like it really comes to life because you're around that culture, you're hearing the language and you're seeing it, how they have placed you to see it. I think it's quite special. So I took that with me thinking, because it's a fat book, like it is. And I thought that would last me the 3.5 weeks I was sort of in Ireland. I absolutely binged it. Like, oh my god, I was obsessed with it. I read it in like 3 days, which is crazy because if you saw the size of the book, you'd be like, oh my god, did you even sleep? And no, I stayed up late reading it because I was like addicted to the like drama and like romance in it. So it's like set in Dublin and it's just like about these young people, and each one has got some like very like heavy trigger warnings and trauma in it, but it feels so real because it is realistic of like some people's struggles and life. And each book is like about a different couple or like a different boy on the sports team. So the numbers are the boys' like jersey numbers. So in that series there is Binding 13, Keeping 13, Redeeming 6, Saving 6, Taming 7 and Releasing 10. And she's not finished the series yet, so there's more books to come. If you go and read it and enjoy it, I guarantee you'll want to read the rest of the series, because that's what I did. I ended up going into Dublin and buying the rest of the series there and then because I just did not want to wait. And I read all of them when I was in Dublin and really, really enjoyed them. It felt like, this sounds like not a compliment, but it is. It felt like a Tracy Beaker, but for an older, like for a teenager and a 20-year-old. Like, you know, like the drama, the sort of like harsh reality of like working class, like lower class people, and like the teenage like lust and love and like all the emotions that come with being a teenager. If you like a romance, if you like a drama, if you want something that's quite like, it has got sad points, like some people, like a lot of people say they cry in it. It has got like moments, like Steph Bohr has just started reading one and she said it took her a while because she was like emotionally like taken from it. But I kind of love that in a book. I kind of like being so like feeling it so deep that I'm like, oh my god, I just think that's incredible that a writer can do that. But yes, read the trigger warnings is what I would say before you read them. And then to finish my like series, like one of my goals for 2025 was to finish series. So I finished the Bridgerton collection that I had. So I read Bridgerton Happily Ever After, When He Was Wicked, To Sir Philip with Love, It's in His Kiss. All of these, like, I don't think I'll reread again. I enjoyed them at the time. Very light-hearted, very like bite easy, like Netflix in a book basically, which is why they're so popular on Netflix and have been made into a series, because they're just like easy romance. You can read them quite quick. Nothing is too like deep. It's not even though it's meant to be set in that time, it's not very historical. It's like a very contemporary take on a history romance. So if you've not read them and you fancy something light-hearted, something that you can just get through quite quick, I'd read them. But I wouldn't like be like, oh, I'm gonna reread them. Like, I didn't keep the books. I think I've donated them all. So they were my next set of books. Then I read The Housemaid, and I think this was my first Frida McFadden book. And I really was like I don't know, because it's not romance, like, ugh. But I really enjoyed it, and it has got an element, but it's very much like, it's like for the plot. You read it for the plot, and I was hooked, and it did have a twist that I didn't expect. The Housemaid, and then I read the other ones, which is The Housemaid is Watching and The Housemaid's Secrets. I enjoyed them all actually in different ways, and I was like hooked. I was so scared in the second book that she was going to sort of repeat the same plot twist, because I was a bit like, like this is kind of going down the same path. Like halfway through I said to a friend who had read it, I was a bit like, please tell me it's not just the same, because it feels like it's going the same way, but it didn't. Like it did flip, and I wouldn't have expected that, I don't think. So I really enjoyed them. If you fancy trying a Freedom McFadden or trying like a mystery plot solving murder vibes, go for that. And then I wanted to complete my sort of, I told myself I wanted to start reading more classical literature. I studied literature, and then so I feel like I only read them because of studying rather than, oh, I really like them. So since I've kind of left A-level school and drama school, I've kind of dropped classical literature, and I feel like there is some stories that I feel like it's like kind of a ritual to read, to be like, oh, like when you're a reader and then you've never read like Wuthering Heights and Great Expectations, I kind of feel like a fraud, which you're not, but I want to try and push myself. So I read Emma by Jane Austen. I got this like 2 years ago, and it's been sat on my shelf, and it's a beautiful copy. It's in the Penguin Classic. I'll see if I can get the picture and pop it up here. And somebody told me Clueless is based on Emma, and I know this is really blonde and dumb, but that helped me when reading it, because I was like, obviously it is classical, there's lots of names, it's all Mr, Mrs and Lady and Lord, and it's very small text and it is very detailed, but having that like contemporary reference, I was like, oh, that's that person and that's kind of like that person. And honestly, the first like few chapters I was a bit like, oh god, like I'm not in it, like it's not as easy to read, like you have to work for it. But once I was in it, I really enjoyed it. Like the drama in it is brilliant. Like the characters are so funny in it. Like they're so 3D. Like they feel like real people. Like because it's so in detail and it takes that hot minute to warm up, the characters are so well rounded and so real. And I was surprised how dramatic and like relevant and funny I was finding it. And it was written like, I mean, when was it written? Let's find out. Let's have a look, bear with. It was published in 1815. I mean, that's mental. That was literally like over 200 years ago. And I read it this year and enjoyed it and found parts of it funny and found parts of it dramatic and hooking. And I really connected to Emma. And I remember a lady I work with, when I told her I was reading it, she was like, you are Emma, like I think you'll really connect with her. And I did. Like I would love to play her at one point in my life. Then I read, I think this is when I go into my Christmas era, so now I'm at like November, December time. I was like full in Christmas mode, so I read Just for December. And this was by Laura Jane Williams. Never read anything of hers before, found it in a charity shop, and if you know me, you know I love a December romance. I love at Christmas time just reading like a cheesy romance that's set somewhere like snowy and gorgeous, and it really just gets me in the Christmas spirit. So I read this, it's my first one of hers, and I loved it. It was such a nice romance without being cliche, and it's set on a movie set in Germany. She's the writer of the movie, he's the lead in the movie, and they have to fake date for publicity. And that's the like concept, but I really enjoyed it. Like, yeah, I very much enjoyed it and would 100% read it again next year. I would rate that maybe a 3.5 to a 4, like for a nice standalone romance that's digestible. Great. Then after that, I was still on my Christmas romance high, and I read Midnight in the Snow by Karen Swan. I love Karen's one because she does like she usually does one summer book and one winter book. And I love that because then in the summer I know I've got a guaranteed good summer read that's set in a nice European city or something like that, and I can really feel like I'm living my like summer dream. And then the winter book is usually a Christmas one, and it's kind of become like a tradition that I read one of her Christmas books every year in December, because they're so like festive, but they're still like very detailed plot, like very like there's always a mystery, trying to figure something out, there's always a bit of romance, there's always like a nice gorgeous location. And Midnight in the Snow like did that for me. I loved it. And yeah, I like obviously don't want to spoil all the plots, but I really enjoyed it. I found the romance like a good level of romance. And then I was on, you know the classic what's it called, like the what's it called, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore, which is like a pseudonym name for an author. It's like massive on TikTok. So I read the first two, and then I was like, oh, like let's easy read these, and I read The Gingerbread Bakery, which I really enjoyed, and I also read The Strawberry Patch Pancake House. I also read The Christmas Tree Farm. So they were the last three in her like Dream Harbour, which is the place, the like imaginary town that's meant to be like Stars Hollow Gilmore Girls. It's like a fan fiction of Gilmore Girls. They're like the last three in that collection at the minute. So I read them. They're all so cheesy and like cute romances. They're all set in this little village in Dream Harbour, so the same characters are in and out of the same book. And because I love Gilmore Girls, even though it's different characters, it's the same sort of like American slow town like vibe, where like they do like festivals and markets, and like they've got like I love the start of each book because she has a little map. So there's like a pancake house, a bakery, a bookshop, like a farm, a Christmas tree farm, and like each book is set in a different, like based on one of the places in Dream Harbour, which I just really like, and I really enjoyed all of them. They're all quite short and digestible, like 400-500 pages, like they're not big books. And also I got two of them on my new favourite thing. I bought a Kindle with my Christmas money, and I read two of them on this, and it was so digestible and so easy. I just like whizzed through it. But yeah, this is my Christmas present to me from my Christmas pennies. I've never had a Kindle before. I've always been a book girly, but I'm definitely kind of converting just for storage space here. Books aren't easy, and also money wise I can get some Kindle books a lot cheaper than the physical. And just like traveling on the go in London without like having heavy books, and this is so light. I got the Colour Soft limited edition. It was on sale on Amazon, so I think they are usually about £270, but I got mine discounted. And it's waterproof, and I just feel like it's going to make my life easier, and I'm hoping to beat my own book record for next year. So fingers crossed I read more this coming year. Even if I don't read more, I want to keep reading intentionally. Like, I don't want to just read books for the sake of reading them. I've got quite a lot of autobiographies and non-fiction books on my bookshelf, my physical bookshelf, that I want to try and get through this year. I'm already on book number 2 of this year, and it's mid-January, so I feel like I'm going good. Please let me know if you've enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, go follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and yeah, keep checking out Francesca's book video. That was the video before, that was her book wrapped. This one's mine, and then going forward we'll be doing more vlogs, more book videos. Thanks for watching, bye.